Welcome to the Property Elite podcast. I'll be your host, Jen Lehman, chartered surveyor and co-founder of Property Elite. Stay tuned each week for more on industry hot topics, market updates and new RICS guidance. In this week's podcast, we look at the outcome of the RICS independent review by Alison Levitt QC. This is essential listening for all RICS APC and AssocRICS candidates, as well as qualified RICS members. The independent review was commissioned by RICS to investigate articles in the press that alleged that RICS tried to suppress a critical internal report into its finances in 2018 and 2019, and then unfairly dealt with those who sought to explore the issue. Alison Levitt QC stated that after releasing the report, that RICS is an organisation about which its members are passionate. Whilst those who provided evidence to me disagreed about a great many things, there was one subject that united them, namely the sense of pride they felt at being members of RICS. This has been a sad and depressing episode in the life of a great institution. There is a yearning to return RICS to a position of preeminence in professional membership organisations. I am confident that with courage and imagination, an independent external governance review will be able to put RICS into the position of moving forward in unity in the public interest. My report has not made easy reading for the Governing Council of RICS, which has shown courage, leadership, and a real commitment to transparency by publishing it in full. I am pleased that it is adopting all my recommendations without delay. So what happened? RICS commissioned a Treasury Management audit in 2018. 4 non-executive board members of RICS then raised concerns that the audit had been suppressed and was subsequently dismissed from the Management Board. RICS Governing Council commissioned the independent review in 2021, which was initially dealt with by Peter Oldham QC and later passed to and published by Alison Levitt QC. The terms of reference for the review set out 3 core objectives. 1. To consider the way in which the internal report was commissioned and dealt with and to determine whether there are any shortcomings. 2. To consider whether any shortcomings represented a failure of governance. And 3. To make recommendations for the future. So what were the conclusions of the review? In short, sound governance principles were not followed by RICS. The independent review found that the non-executive board members' concerns were legitimate and that they were wrongly dismissed. A key contributing factor was a lack of clarity around the roles and responsibilities of the various RICS boards, senior leadership and management, which led to a lack of scrutiny over the actions of the RICS Chief Executive and Chief Operating Officer. This led to a power struggle rather than a cover-up. There was a collective failure of common sense and the situation escalated unnecessarily. RICS was also not served well by their lawyers who protected the executive, rather than giving objective advice to the organisation as a whole. Prior to the report's publication, a number of key RICS figures stood down. CEO Sean Tompkins, President Kath Fontana, Interim Chair of Governing Council Chris Brooke, and Chair of the Management Board Paul Marcuse. Amit Shah, Chair of the Audit Committee, also came to the end of his term. The independent review contains 18 specific recommendations. These are set out on the RICS website, and you can follow the link on our blog to these. These include recommendations on governance, executive remuneration, whistleblowing, and legal advice. So what was the response of RICS to the independent review? The RICS Governing Council accepted all recommendations set out. Nick McLean, Temporary Chair of Governing Council, said, "We are grateful to Alison Levitt QC for her very thorough report and have accepted her findings in their entirety. We commissioned an independent reviewer because we are committed to fostering a culture of openness and transparency, and that's why we have published it in full. Whilst her report makes uncomfortable reading, it provides us with an opportunity to implement far-reaching reforms and establish RICS as the gold standard for professional bodies, which will regenerate our historic institution. I've personally apologised to the non-executive board members who were unfairly dismissed on behalf of RICS and would like to repeat this apology publicly, as well as apologising to members of the Governing Council 2019 group who were improperly threatened with legal action. We've accepted the decisions of the CEO, President, Chair of Governing Council and Chair of the Management Board to stand down and thank them for their service. I can promise our members and staff that we will have an open dialogue about our plans for the new external review of our organisation and about other changes we implement to address the failings identified in the report. I can reassure the wider profession and the public that our oversight of professional and regulatory standards has never been compromised by the events described in the report. So, as an RICS APC or AssocRICS candidate, what do you need to know? You should be well acquainted with the conclusions and recommendations of the independent review. This includes the principles of good governance, RICS structure, and professional ethics. Candidates could be asked about their view or opinion on the independent review in their APC final assessment. Preparing a considered answer to this question is therefore advisable. You could explain, for example, some of the recommendations of the review and how they'll promote good governance in future by RICS. Or, alternatively, you could explain how the independent review has helped promote trust in the profession and enable us as a body of professionals to provide a high standard of service to our clients. Thanks for listening to the Property Elite podcast this week. Head to our website to check out our full blog, free and paid support resources and services, free consultation for every single RICS APC and AssocRICS candidate, and also ask us any questions you have via the website chat blog. See you next week.